Hey guys, it's Justine here from I Should Read That, and today I'm finally bringing back the reading vlog. Also, Sophia's in my lap right now, so don't mind her if you see some ears and tail wiggling around on the screen. Look at that! I have been doing bits and pieces of reading vlogs for months now, and you may remember I did my last one in October? I think it was October. I'm pretty sure it was October. And I've been meaning to do my fourth one for months, and it's not happened, mostly because of things getting really busy in my work life, my personal life. Christmas happened, and I love Christmas. I tend to kind of lose my life to Christmas a little bit. I just haven't done one of these in ages. It makes me a little bit sad, so I'm trying to bring back the reading vlog. I actually brought it back last week, but last week I read like nothing. Every single entry was me being like, so I played some Minecraft today. And that was about it. And I just had nothing today. So I trashed all that footage and we're starting fresh now. So in addition to having not put my Christmas tree away yet, you guys know how I feel about Christmas, I am reading 3 very, very different books. So the first one, I'm actually really excited for. This was one that I didn't know much about, but I saw it on Twitter, I looked it up, and it looked really cool, so I managed to get myself an advance copy. So that's Paris Adrift by E.J. Swift. This comes from Rebellion Publishing here in the UK. This is like a really cool take on time travel. It sounds like a weird combination of sci-fi and magical realism, but also maybe a little bit of historical fiction. It's really cool so far. I'm not very far in. I think I'm about 50 pages in, but I'm really looking forward to this. I'm really loving it so far. I just don't have much to say because I'm not very far. Next up is a book that I bought for myself post-Christmas, and I love this man so much, although so many people will disagree with me because he has a tendency to make people really upset. I don't know why, but that's Neil deGrasse Tyson's Astrophysics for People in a Hurry. So this is a tiny little book. Look at that. It's so small. But basically it's doing what he does best, which is taking really complicated astrophysics and science and all that good stuff and condensing it down to something that normal people like me can understand. And I love science and I love astronomy. I just have absolutely no brain for it. And if my brain worked in this way, I wouldn't be doing this right now. I would be a scientist. I'm not a scientist. So the thing that I love about him is that he is so good at making these concepts really accessible to people like me. So the way that this book is set up is it's a bunch of kind of short chapters. So far it's maybe like 15 pages a chapter. It takes these really complex sort of theories and ideas from astrophysics and it breaks them down. So this first one was the greatest story ever told. So it's the story of the Big Bang in 11 pages. It was really cool. So I'm reading them one at a time, which I think is how you're supposed to do this. And I really am really enjoying it. So last up, I have a feeling there will be a little squeal of delight from the British people here. This is a series of books that I had never heard of before until I got on kind of UK book Twitter, and apparently I just massively missed out. So I'd heard about this, thought it was a TV show, and then one of my good friends recommended it to me because we were in the library and she saw them all and was like, you need to read these. So I have the very first of the Lockwood & Co. books. So this is The Screaming Staircase, and I'm about 150 pages in. I started yesterday, and I love it so much. It's so much fun. It's basically, these teenagers start their own ghost hunting agency, and it's kind of, sort of, slightly off-kilter present-day London. So there's this thing, kind of nebulous thing that happened in the past called The Problem, which feels very British. And essentially, ghosts and hauntings and whatnot all just kind of almost invaded our modern world. So ghosts are a very real thing, ghost hunters are a very real thing, and the thing that I love about this is that I feel like often YA books take these characters and make them teenagers just for the sake of them being YA. This is YA for a very good reason, and that's because, as many of these kinds of stories have said in the past, children are able to see and sense ghosts much easier than adults. So this agency is made up of teenagers and they are wonderful and I'm really loving it. So I went to the library today to return a bunch of books. I returned about 7 books and I said to myself, Justine, please don't get any more books. You'll return these, clear up some shelf space, It's a good thing to do. We're getting a little bit crowded here. So I returned all those and I got about 7 more. Oops. So look at this. Oh my god, I got 1, 2, 3, 7 more books. Oh joy. I don't know how many of these I'll actually read. But really quickly, I got Wolf Hall by Hilary Mantel, Dagger Spell by Catherine Kerr, Interview with a Vampire by Anne Rice. This is one I've actually already read, but I read it in high school. Passenger by Alexandra Bracken, Jade City by Fonda Lee, Ironclads by Adrian Tchaikovsky, and last but not least, I got The Lonely Hearts Hotel by Heather O'Neill. So all of these books are ones that I'm very interested in reading, in addition to the 12 other library books that I currently have in the flat. So, oops. Oh well. I guess I can just bring them back if I don't read them, but I really, really want to read them. So that's it for today. I am planning to do a little bit more filming while Scottish Fiance is not here. He's on his way home from work, so I'm trying to speed through really quickly, and I'm going to keep reading Lockwood. I'm really excited to get through that book. It's just been so much fun so far. I'm sure you can tell how much I'm enjoying it. Hey guys, happy Wednesday. I'm real tired today. It's been a long, long day, but yeah, I just couldn't really be bothered setting up in front of the bookshelf and everything, so I'm here on the sofa. I'm under my mermaid blanket, very much channeling Ariel right now in her comfiest of days, and just gonna update you a little bit on what I've been reading. So I am almost done with the very first Lockwood book. You can hear Sophia's munching on her dinner in the background. Sorry about that. I'm on page 372. I think there's like 440 pages. We've just got to like the big scary part, and I was reading this on my lunch break at work, and my hour was up just as like things were starting to get actually quite scary. So I'm really, really looking forward to getting back to this tonight. It has been very much a roller coaster of a book, and I am probably going to start the second one very, very soon. I'm really, really loving this. So everyone who's been raving about this on Twitter and whatnot, to my friend who recommended this when we were in the library, who basically just took the first 2 books off the shelf and handed them to me and went, thank you. Thank you so much. So the other book that I've really been digging into is Astrophysics for People in a Hurry. This is one that I've been reading quite slowly, because that was the way that it was intended to be read. It's broken down into very short chapters. I think I've already explained this. But I'm currently on the second... Yeah, I'm almost done with the second chapter. Actually, I should have finished this chapter last night, but it was bedtime. So I'm actually not currently reading Paris Adrift, as I said before. It's a little bit on hold until I finish Lockwood, which I should tonight. So I'm going to hopefully get back to Paris Adrift tonight, and I'll have more to say about that tomorrow. The other thing that I have done is I actually had started up my Audible subscription again. Audiobooks are something that I really struggle with. I need to find the kind of perfect genre, the perfect type of book. I've been doing kind of a reread, sort of the Stormlight Archive books by Brandon Sanderson so that I can get to Oathbringer, which has been very slow because they're very, very long, but I really wanted something new, so I actually tried Cosmos by Carl Sagan on audiobook today, and I am completely absorbed. It's a book that I had never read, but it's a book I've always been interested in, and I've heard obviously such amazing things because it's such an enduring book. Like, it's been around for years and years. It's still selling incredibly well. But the audiobook is narrated by Neil deGrasse Tyson, and Seth MacFarlane does a portion of it. Carl Sagan's wife does a portion of it. She actually, I believe, had written one of the like millions of forewords that are in this book. There's like 4 forewords, which seems a little excessive. But so far, everything else has been narrated by LeVar Burton, and I love him so much. So if you are maybe outside of the US, or you weren't, you know, a 90s kid like me, LeVar Burton, of course, played Geordi LaForge on Star Trek Next Generation and was amazing, one of my favorite characters. But my love for him came much, much earlier when he did Reading Rainbow, which was a wonderful show on PBS, which is the public broadcasting station in the US. And just, I remember watching videotapes of it that we had just kind of hanging out at home because my mom worked for the station for a while. And some of my love of reading does actually come from Reading Rainbow. So the fact that LeVar Burton is narrating this book is just wonderful. One last thing that I wanted to do was show you guys a couple of things that showed up on my doorstep today. So the first looks like it's from Hachette. They ran, Team Bookmark ran a giveaway to win a proof and a bunch of other swag of Everless. If you did not win, if you entered the contest, you still got some swag, which I clearly did not win, but I do have postcards, yay! So these are all postcards of Everless, which actually I own a copy of because it was the fairy loot box from last month. The next thing, I am running out of recording time, so we can do this real fast. Looks like I got some book post. I think I know what it is. It is, yay! So this is Elysium Fire. And I actually have a copy of Aurora Rising, which I really need to read. It's on my shelf, so I'm going to bump these two up to the top of my TBR. Thank you so much for sending this to me. This is from Galance. So that's it for today. I have about 9 seconds left to record, so I'll talk to you tomorrow. Hey guys, happy Friday from Sophia and me. She's being a little nippy with her tail right now. But I am actually working from home. Our boiler went out, and so I was hanging out at home with the boiler man, who was here for 2 hours and mumbled the phrase, "This just keeps getting worse and worse," to himself. So that inspired a lot of confidence, but the boiler's fixed, the heat is on, we have hot water again, so life is good. So I'm really surprised that by now it's Friday. I'm pretty sure I started on Monday. I've only got 2 entries in this reading vlog, so I'm not doing as well as I had hoped that I would. Yesterday I wasn't feeling well, so I just went to bed really early. So the last entry in this was a little bit frantic because I actually ran out of space on my phone, so I could see like the flashing numbers counting down how much time I had left. So I'm just gonna go over what I've been up to lately one more time, just in case. So on Wednesday night, I did actually end up finishing the first Lockwood book, The Screaming Staircase, which was really fun. I really loved. I gave this like 4.5 out of 5 stars. There's a lot to love here, and I think that there's a lot that a lot of YA authors can learn from these books, which are actually, they're either quite old or they're fairly recent. I can't remember. They are 2013, so they're a few years old at this point, but these books don't fall for the tropes that I feel like a lot of YA does. So for example, we get the perspective of Lucy, who is one of the agents for Lockwood, and she is admittedly very upfront that she's not very attractive. She mentions this once, and then never mentions it again. At all. And the fact that there can be a female character who's young in a YA book who doesn't dwell on her appearance is slightly shocking to me, because honestly, I have seen so little of that. The other thing that I really liked about this is, though I'm sure that it will happen later on, there was no romance in this book. There's genuine, like, male-female friendship, which is really lovely and I really liked. Again, that might change, but you know, that's something that I really want to see. Boys and girls can be friends. Girls and girls can be friends. We see male friendships all the time, but I feel like there's such a lack of friendships between women and between young girls and between girls and boys that it makes me really sad. So there's so much more that I could talk about here. This is a reading vlog rather than a review. I just really love this, and if you're apprehensive about the YA genre and some of the silly things that I've just mentioned that happen a lot, I would really recommend picking these up, because not only do they not do that, they're also just really well written and really fun. Next up, I'm still working on Neil deGrasse Tyson's Astrophysics for People in a Hurry. I am consuming this very slowly because science kind of makes my head explode. But I am 66 pages in. I believe I'm on the 4th chapter, and I'm really enjoying it. It's a really good book to kind of pick up and put down and maybe read a few minutes here and a few minutes there. And because it's short, I don't feel like I need to rush through it. I don't feel like I'm sort of wasting time by reading 10 minutes here and 15 minutes there. It's just a really easily consumable book, and I'm really enjoying it. It's really fun, it's really accessible. Last of all, I am still reading Paris Adrift. This is one that I am also picking up and putting down and picking up and putting down. I don't know, there are parts of it that I'm really loving. And there are parts of it that I think because it is a very surreal book, intentionally, obviously, there are parts of it that my brain, which tends to be funny enough for someone who reads so much science fiction and fantasy, my brain tends to be very grounded in reality. So when things happen... So, okay, this is the best way to describe it. For example, there is a girl in this book who is friends with our main character. She is from Colombia, but she lives in Paris. This book takes place in Paris. And her friend is convinced that she cannot leave Paris. Every time she tries to leave Paris to catch a flight home, something happens. Something gets in the way. Whether her taxi gets her there late, or the flight is delayed, or it's canceled, or whatever. She is just convinced, like in tears, kicking over newsstands, convinced that she cannot leave Paris. And I'm like, girl, get yourself put on another flight. If the flight's canceled, they'll put you on another flight. Just talk to someone, you know? Maybe get there early. Maybe don't plan your flight to be immediately after your shift at the bar, which, knowing from experience of working in bars and restaurants, that the closing hours can be very varied, shall we say. She's going on about how she cannot leave Paris and da-da-da-da-da, and her family needs her and all that, and I'm like, get on another flight! Come on, what's wrong with you? So I think in that sense, I'm not enjoying parts of this book, but the other parts of the book, the descriptions of kind of what's happening with Haley, who's our main character, and the sort of just bizarre things that are happening, I am really enjoying. So this one's a little bit up in the air for me right now. I'm only on page 116, so I've still got a while to go, as you can see, but this is one that I am picking up and putting down. Last of all, I am still listening to the audiobook for Cosmos by Carl Sagan, which I'm absolutely loving. It's actually at the point where it's distracting me from doing work while I am at work, which is slightly problematic. So I'm not listening to it at work anymore, but I'm hoping that I'm going to start listening to it on my not very long commute to and from work, and then also a little bit at home, and just sort of fill some of my time with it, because it's really just so good. There's a reason that this book has endured for as many years as it has. I'm really loving LeVar Burton's narration, because he's just like, I love him so much. And it's probably the most enjoyable audiobook experience I've had so far. I think that this might be the book that really gets me into audiobooks. So that's it for today. Like I said, working from home, I should probably do a little bit more work, but I wanted to take a break to do this. So if I get a chance, maybe later tonight or tomorrow, I will update you guys on how the end of the week is going, and if I actually manage to finish any of these books, although I'll probably just end up starting another one. So I'm currently sitting on the floor because I cannot really be bothered to get my entire setup out today. So it's Sunday morning, and this is the very last entry in this week's reading vlog. I've really enjoyed coming back to this, so I think I'm definitely going to try to stick with it. But last night, I am happy to say that I finished Paris Adrift. It really picked up for me, like really. I wasn't sure if I was going to like it much in the beginning. The first 100 pages were a little bit sort of weird, and it's a weird book, but after that, things kind of came together a little bit better. So I ended up giving this 4 out of 5 stars. I really did enjoy it. This week I'm going to be continuing on with Astrophysics for People in a Hurry. Again, I'm not very far. I'm reading this very slowly as it was intended to be read. You're going to be seeing this one on here for a while. I think I'm like 70 pages in or so, but I am really, really enjoying it. Don't take the slow reading as me not enjoying it, because I'm really liking this a lot. I'm also still working on the audiobook for Cosmos, which I'm loving. It's weird to have both Astrophysics for People in a Hurry and Cosmos going at the same time because it's a lot of space, but I'm really, really loving it, so I'm probably going to listen to that a little bit later today. Next week, I'm so excited because I'm going to be starting The Bells by Danielle Clayton. This is one of my most highly anticipated books of 2018. It comes out, I think, on the 8th of February, and I'm really, really looking forward to this. So if you want to see what I think of The Bells as I'm going through it, definitely tune in for next week's reading vlog. So that's it for this week. I hope you guys enjoyed this as much as I did. It seems to be that reading vlogs are something that people are really interested in seeing, so definitely make sure that you tune in. Let me know what you thought of the books that I read this week, and I'll see you next time.